Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Royal Oak self-winding chronograph in stainless steel with a green dial. Reference 26240ST.OO.1320ST.04 or 08, depending on if it's a 50th anniversary or just a regular one. I will tell you a little bit about the history of this Royal Oak, then tell you about where this watch stands in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks, then tell you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet, and movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history of the Royal Oak, which has been around since 1972. It was created by Gerald Genta and has become the most famous luxury sports watch on the planet. And it was also the first luxury sports watch on the planet. It was the AP created this segment. Back then all watches were dress watches, and AP decided to make a sports watch and to also make it in a non-precious metal, and then to charge the price of a precious metal. That at the time was absurd. They did it and it became commonplace. So quite a feat achieved by AP, and they, in my opinion and opinion of many others, are responsible for the luxury sports watch, and they are the best when it comes to sports watches in general. After that, the Nautilus came out in 1976, 4 years later, and which is also a smash hit, and it was also designed by Gerald Genta, and was most likely an answer by Patek Philippe to AP's very successful luxury sports watch edition in that of the Royal Oak. Okay, that's a little bit about the history. Now let's talk about where this watch stands in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks. The Royal Oak comes for men in only a few sizes: 37, 38 millimeter, or 39 or 41 millimeter. Now 41 is the largest. It fits most men, at least with a wrist size of 7 inches or larger. And but then once you get to the 41, there's many different varieties that you can choose from, namely the complications. They make a time and date only, which is just 3 hands and no other complication. They make the chronograph, which is what you see here, which has these subdials and these pushers. Then they make some other variations, such as a open work. They make an open work flying tourbillon. They make tourbillons. They make minute repeaters, even a grand complication. So there's quite a few to choose from, and of those they make it in every dial configuration you could imagine, along with many different bracelets, either rubber, leather, a lot of different variations in different materials, etc. Ceramic, gold, white gold, rose gold, yellow gold, everything in different finishes even. So there's a lot of variations on it. Now this watch is your basic steel chronograph, and in this chronograph they don't make that many dial variations. They make a black, a white, a blue, and a green, and that's it. And the blue and the green are the hardest to get, and they have the highest premium. And so if you're fortunate enough to get a green one, or to have enough money to buy a green one, well, then you should consider yourself very fortunate, because there's very few of them on the market, and AP makes less of them. At least I think so. Now let's start talking about the watch itself, starting with the case. The case, as I stated, is 41 millimeters, a very comfortable size. Most men can wear it. It has a thickness of just 12.4 millimeters, not that much, very thin actually, considering that it's a chronograph, and it's about the same thickness as a Daytona, which is not very thick. So they did a really good job on keeping the thickness down and still having all the bells and whistles, which I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, now the case has a satin finish on top with a beveled edge that extends down the length of the bracelet, and also goes into the bezel and allows, which is the next thing we're talking about, which has a satin finish and a beveled edge. And the bezel is octagonal, means 8 sides to it, and it is arguably the most iconic, not arguably, it is the most iconic looking part of the AP. It's the part that people see and instantly recognize as an AP or a Royal Oak. Even if they've only seen it once, they can instantly recognize it. Okay, so that is the bezel. And let's start talking about the dial here. Now the dial, as I told you, they make it in four different dial variations for stainless steel. This one happens to be green, as you see. Now it's AP calls it a khaki green tapisserie dial. The tapisserie is that small waffles that you see here, opposed to the large mega tapisserie, which is on the offshores, which is the big brother, or you could say little brother. Okay, and so the green that you have here, it's quite a special dial. Not at the peak of the market in 22, this watch was trading like more than 100,000 because of the color. The color really made it stand out and just be, you know, quite fantastic. It just adds a little flavor to the watch, a lot of flavor to the watch actually. Let's talk a bit about the hour markers and the hands. Now the hour markers and hands are also different from the previous generation in that they are fatter, more legible because they're fatter, and they look a bit redesigned when you compare them to the old generation that was kind of skinny and very difficult to read. And also the subdials here, if you notice, the subdials at 3, 6, and 9 are all equal in terms of size. The old generation, which is reference 26331, had a small 6 o'clock subdial because the movement itself was smaller, and also the date wheel at the 4 o'clock was toward the center because the movement was smaller. Now that movement has been improved, the date wheel is pushed toward the periphery, and everything is where it should be. Now let's look at the pushers here. The pushers can be simply activated by pressing them, which is in stark contrast to the Rolex Daytona, which I would say is one of their big competitors. And it definitely beats out the Rolex in that regard with regard to the pushers, because these pushers can be simply activated. You simply press it and that's it. Whereas on the Daytona, you actually have to unscrew them. And even on the older generations, even older than 26331, I think it's 26320, you actually had to unscrew the pushers before you could press them, which was not a very good thing. And that's actually what Rolex Daytona still use. So you have an edge up for AP there. Okay, let's start talking about the bracelet here. Now, the bracelet is a 1320 bracelet. That number is also on the reference number. The previous bracelet was 1220. The difference is that this bracelet is thinner and also has a better taper, which makes it fit your wrist better. And that thickness is quite noticeable, actually, and it makes the watch just look much more streamlined. Okay, and the buckle has not changed. Now let's move on to the movement. Now this watch happens to be a 50th. Now 50th was produced on the 50th anniversary of the Royal Oak, which was in 2022. And the difference between the 50th and non-50th is that the rotor has this sign that says 50th, and that's it. If it's not a 50th, it'll say AP and it'll be in rose gold. And they do the rotor to color match the watch. So if it's in steel, they do it in steel. If it's in gold, they'll do it in gold. So this one is in steel, so they do it in white gold. Okay, now let's move on to trying this watch on. Now I'm 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, and you see I have a 7.5 inch wrist. As you can see, I really think first of all, the Royal Oak is my favorite men's sports watch. I think they do it like no other. They're the original, and for the price point, considering that they're like half the price of a Nautilus, and actually I even think they're done better than Nautilus's, they're definitely my favorite sports watch. Not to say that the Patek Philippe Nautilus is not good. It's an excellent watch. This one I just believe is just superior. But anyways, so what makes it so great? All those things I talked about in the video, but also its exclusivity. AP is a very exclusive brand. It's very difficult to get these watches, and if you have one, especially if a modern one, it really says something about you, your taste, your collection, your wealth, your status, etc. So it's just a great watch for men to have. I really like it in this size for 41 if it would fit you. And also like the dial color, that's a little different, and also like the ruggedness of the steel. So for that reason, I'm definitely going to give this watch 2 thumbs up. And if you're lucky enough to own one, or you can afford to buy one, please go to jazztime.com or click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.